A tale of two halves?
That was exactly right.
What changed over the intermission?
I don't know. When you have a big lead like that, it's human nature to let down, get complacent, which is not acceptable. Not what you can't just say, well, it's okay. But and I thought, first of all, I give Southeast a lot of credit. They could have easily played the second half, just played it out, but they didn't. They turned their game up. They turned their heat up. They played hard, tough, physical, mean. I give them a lot of credit. That's what I saw, and they made life very difficult on us. So I think they had a lot to do with it. We didn't respond to it great. It felt like second half, we've been really good for the most part guarding penetration. This year we've got a lot of guys that can do that well. The second half, didn't think we did very well at that. We fouled a lot and gave up too many offensive rebounds, and we were totally on our heels, as you could see. So nothing was going right at the other end either, and we weren't getting stops and rebounds to get in transition. But I think they had a lot to do with it. I think we had a lot to do with it. It was a disappointing half, but I don't want to just make it all about the half, because we did a lot of good things. Hopefully we learned. I thought, later in the game, even though we had pretty much the game in hand, I wish we would have finished better, where we fouled less, turned it over less when we just really want to run the clock. But it's early in the year. We've got to learn those things. Didn't think we handled that particularly well, but so far all I've said are negative things, and I think there was a bunch of positives, and it's a good win. We got away from them, and a lot of good things.
All right. Of those positives, you came out fast, very fast out of the gates, jumped out to a big lead. What were the keys to that fast start for you?
Well, first of all, defense and the rebounding, and we were, in transition a lot. We had great ball movement. We had penetration. It was kind of the perfect half, really. I mean, it was not perfect, but it's exactly what you're hoping for, looking for. Kind of what we did the other night. So it's that combination. If you're really getting stops and able to run. Most teams are very difficult to guard in the transition, and so the more that you are running at them, the better usually your offense is. But I saw our ball movement was outstanding, I thought, the first half. And second half, not the fault of our guys necessarily. I thought they did a good job of making it more difficult, but that's what made the first half. And none of them, but the second half, we couldn't get stops. We're fouling, they're rebounding, and our offense kind of got, we shut down a little bit.
You don't often see a team win by 17 and have more turnovers than assists. Area of concern for you?
A little bit. The first half we had 10 assists on 20 baskets, and we were in flow, and we were playing well. Part of that, the second half, was not, it was because we got out of sync. It wasn't by any of the wrong thoughts or anything. So if you're asking, does 15 turnovers bother? Yeah, 15 turnovers always bothers me, but not really versus the assists, because we were just, well, here's another thing. We had a bunch of assists. The shots just didn't go down. That's the one thing about assists. I think, you look at the assists, but let's go back and look at the second half. How many times we kicked the ball out to a wide open shooter, right? And we just didn't shoot the ball very well. I never have a problem with that. We took some great shots, and that might have been as big a story of the whole second half. We had a lot of kick out, step in, 3-point shots by our very good shooters, and we go drive for a good while, and we're not stopping them at the other end. So it could easily, had we shot the ball pretty normal, we'd be saying, hey, we had 18 assists or whatever. So I think that had a part of it. But the turnovers, too many.
Speaking of your shooters, Zach and Emmanuel gave you 11 points, and I think Emmanuel had 5 in the last couple of minutes. So do you take some optimism in the fact that you were still able to win by 17 without getting much of anything from two of your senior guards?
Look at, I think our Tristan, Isaiah, and Jamar gave us about 15 points, I think, and Marcus 15 points. Of course, Kendrick had a big game. Zurich did a lot of things. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're really a good. You have a chance to be a really good team when you have a lot of different guys that can score double figures on a given night, and or close to that. And so no, you don't. We don't have to have. And I have every confidence in Emmanuel and every confidence in Zach. They're very good offensive players. They just had one of those nights. They're going to have more of those nights. And we do need other guys that are able to fill, the void, and that'll go for other guys. We'll be saying the same thing about somebody else, in the next game probably. That's just the way basketball flows.
You've talked after previous games about how your freshmen are not just freshmen, they are key parts of what you plan to do this year.
Yeah.
And maybe partly because of the early lead, but you were able to get them a lot of minutes in the first half.
Yeah.
Is that important to get them those minutes when it's still in doubt?
They deserve them. First of all, they've earned them in practice. They've earned them through, their ability. At the same time, we have a number of veterans too that they've been in the wars, but yes, it's very important that they get minutes. And look at how well in different games that they've done. They've done a lot of good things already in the 4 games that we played, and they are going to be important. They're going to have a role. Their role could increase easily, or maybe not. But they'll earn their time. They've earned their time now. We're not just handing it out to them. We really are not. They have done a lot of good things.
You got points from 9 different guys tonight. How important is it to keep that balance going forward rather than relying on Kendrick or relying on?
I'm just huge on that. I think that's very, 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 very important, because I think if you become a team that is so focused on 1 or 2 guys, you're just so much easier to prepare for. And I've always wanted to be the kind of team that you put the fire out here, but there's a fire over here, and you put water on that one, another one breaks out. I just think those are the best. And also, I know nobody plays great every night. Nobody plays great every night. Nobody is in their game every night, shots going in. Or some nights you just have a defender on you that's driving you crazy. So you can't just, nobody can be relied on every night to give you great numbers. And so really that's, if you look at the best teams over time, they do have enough guys that can get to a certain point level on a nightly basis versus very, very good talent. And that's what you hope to have. And then you hope that those offensive players are also bought in enough to the defense and the rebounding, and they're not just offensive players.
You got a couple of wins this week you didn't blow them out of the gym, but you had a couple of comfortable wins this week. How do you feel about these games as sort of a springboard going into your tournament this weekend?
Yeah, it's early year. This is kind of what, we played a really tough ranked team on the road, and we've had, 3 games starting out that kind of, this is what most everybody's doing across the country. Then boom, now you go to a tournament. Now you go with SEC, ACC teams or whatever. This is pretty normal, and it just gives you a chance to try to build, try to get guys minutes, and it's a good thing. And I think we've taken some good things, but the road is ahead. The road is out there. The real road is out there, and a coach always has the urgency, just because of experience, of knowing, we got to be really doing things well now, so that a month and 2 months from now, these things start to become who we are. We don't wait till 2 days before a game and say, now we've got to be like this. And that's really my mindset. It's always mindset. It's every coach's mindset. And sometimes as a player, it's a little hard to see that. I know I didn't see the game at all when I was playing like I do as a coach. You didn't see the urgency, just like, hey, we won. What's the big deal? Why is coach fussing about this and fussing about that? And like, well, he's thinking about a month and a half from now, and that's, just kind of the truth of the whole matter.
What is your mood after a win that's kind of a should win?
Yeah, you know, every win, you should, I was taught a long time ago, and I don't always do great at this. I was taught by, you know, wise coaches that you should always appreciate and in some way celebrate a win. And celebrate doesn't necessarily mean, you know, it means just at least feel good about it. Okay, just, I mean, don't ever quickly go to, we didn't do this and we didn't do that. You always, because they're all hard to come by. I think sometimes people don't realize, you know, the other team's trying to win too. You know, they want to win just as bad as you do every single night. And the other thing is, somebody pointed this out to me 20 years later, that exactly half the teams in the country lose every night that play. And it's like, wow, when you think about it that way, half of the teams every single night that play lose. So you ought to celebrate the darn win every time you get one. But certainly some feel a lot better than others, and sometimes when you feel like, hey, we should absolutely win a game, the celebration is shorter. So that's the way I would answer that.